Hey there, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in to Sin's Workshop. Hope you're all having a great day. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I know, this book came out last year. I did read it last year, but backlog, kind of have to prioritize book reviews, but who cares? I liked it. I know there's a lot going on out there. It is about the 10th Hunger Games. I think when we all had this idea of, Susan Collins is writing a prequel novel, we thought, before Panem was Panem, maybe about the rebellion, that first rebellion. I don't think any of us imagined, she's going to be talking about President Snow back when he was a youngin' for the 10th Hunger Games. I think that kind of disappointed a lot of us as, fans of the series, because Snow, he's not a good guy. He really isn't a good guy. And I will say this, though. This was an excellent book. Susan Collins is an amazing writer because she was able to really bring in more life on Snow's character. And I do think that she did it in an amazing way because, let's face it, Snow was not likable in the original series. However, as readers, we get to understand him a little bit more. And I think that adds some more depth to his characterization. He's not just this bad guy. He's, honestly, if it were me, I'd say he's a lot like Lex Luthor. He does a lot of bad things and makes a lot of poor decisions because they're so stuck in their fear. Lex is a bad guy. If you're a fan of DC Comics, Lex Luthor is a bad guy. However, he's deluded. I was going to combine delusional. They think everything they're doing is for the benefit of humankind because they're so stuck in the fear. And that's how I kind of understood President Snow in this novel. His family's on the verge of, living on the streets. All they have to them, they don't even have money, really. They are poor. All they have to their name really is, all they have to them is their name. That Snow legacy, Snow always lands on top kind of mentality. And they were alive during the rebellion, So President Snow, he saw a lot of horrors. Does that excuse him? Absolutely not. But it does give the reader a chance to understand him, like why he's like the way he is. He saw people starving to death. He's on the verge of starving himself. He saw cannibalism take place. It's a lot of horror that I think he's still recovering from. In this novel especially, he's still recovering from it. And it really does leave an impact on the reader. Like I said, nothing excuses anything that he does. But we do get to understand where he's coming from. And I always love that. I always love when the villain has depth to them. Are they definitely a villain? Yeah, they are. But do I like the bad guys who are just bad guys because they're bad? Yeah, sure I do. I'm a huge Joker fan. I love me my Mr. J. But I also do like when a villain has depth to them. I think it adds more to the story, in my personal opinion. Do I like anarchy and chaotic characters as well? Totally. Who doesn't? But I also do like in-depth characterization. That is key for me, and that's really what sells this novel and what makes it so good. Because we do get to see where Snow is coming from. And I also do like these Hunger Games. They are so different. They are so different than the Hunger Games we know, the 74th and the 75th quarter quell. They're so different. They're kind of just stuck in the past. It's a coliseum and there are weapons, and then it's like they just kind of throw you in there. But there's no special effects. There's really nothing special. You're just televising this barbaric thing. And you know what I think is also great? You get to see a lot of characters in the Capitol who hate the Hunger Games. Snow has a classmate who he does get really close to. And even the head game maker, he's just so lost in his anger that this project he and Snow's dad worked on in school as just a project, nothing to really be brought to life was brought to life. He's horrified by it to the point where he just drugs himself and drinks constantly. And his antagonism towards Snow's father passed on to Snow. So you really do get to see a lot of layers to the Capitol that I don't think we as readers really got to see in the previous saga. Sure that there were people who sympathized, who wanted the ending of these games, who just wanted it done with, who were just like, come on, people suffered enough. Why do we need to keep bringing in kids just to kill them? We definitely did get to see that in the previous novel, but I don't think we got to, probably novels, but we didn't get to see it to this level of guilt and pain in the Capitol. Like I said, they've all suffered a lot. It's not like everyone in the Capitol during the war was okay, drinking their tea, going, oh, look at all those poor people. They did suffer. And I think a lot of people, when you first read the series, we didn't get to see it because we're just seeing, how the decadence of the now. We didn't see how they were slowly, also recovering, and how there's a lot of anger there to fuel the Hunger Games. But I do love all the Easter eggs that Suzanne College dropped in here. They're amazing. And I think Lucy Gray, she's an incredible protagonist. She's not Katniss, for the record. She's not Katniss. She's a performer at heart. She loves to sing. She likes to dance. She likes drawing attention to herself. And that makes her the star of the Hunger Games. And it even wins President Snow, it wins his heart. And you really do get to see a different side of him. And I like Lucy Gray. And they even sing the hanging tree in here. And you're just like, I love it. I love it. I really do love this novel. And I like Lucy Gray. I like the dimension she brought to the story. How she's not Katniss. I'm really, really thankful. However, she is from District 12. She is the underdog of the whole competition. And she was Snow's mentee. Because President Snow, as a student, got to mentor her. And that's where he fell in love with her. And that's where he came up with all the ideas of sponsorship. He is the face of the Hunger Games. He helped shape it into what it was for that first novel, The Hunger Games. And you really do get to see a lot of that. And I loved this foundation. If you're a fan of the series, you're definitely going to love all those Easter eggs that are thrown in throughout the novel. And it was really like, for me, every time I read that, I was like, it was like a fangirl moment for me. Because at this point, Collins isn't just writing a story for herself. She's writing it for us as readers, as fans, and I really appreciated that. She did that without losing her integrity and without losing the core of her Hunger Games series. You know what I mean? She's just incredible as an author. And oh God, I cannot begin to tell you this novel. I loved it. I mean, I thought it was just. Did I put my book in here upside down? I did. I thought it was great. I mean, look at this embossing right there. This was so worth pre-ordering. It's so worth reading, especially if you're a fan of the series. Do you have to like Snow to read this story? No, absolutely not. Again, I despise Snow as a character. I just think it's really interesting how his character develops. You get to see who he was, and you're understanding that journey of who he becomes by the Hunger Games series. And boy, is it a journey. I will say this, though. The story does begin to slow down when he becomes a peacekeeper. However, when he's a peacekeeper, you know, it's part 3 of the book. So this is all like really fast paced. Everything here, you're just kind of boom, 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 blowing through it. But when you reach here, this is more, we're starting to really, really focus on how he's changing as a character. You see everything he's been through here. And then you're seeing how Lucy Gray really just infects him throughout the entire narrative. And, you know, I think it explains a lot of his dislike of Katniss. No, they're not the same person, but they can be farther apart. There's such polar opposites, Lucy Gray and Katniss. But they're both from District 12, and they're the underdogs that no one expected to win. So I think you really get to see a lot of why he hates Mockingjays and why he doesn't like District 12 and why he doesn't like Katniss. Not just because of that spark that she has within her, that rebellious spark. I mean, that rebellious spark is what makes her similar to Lucy Gray. They both have this rebellious spark between them. But that's where the similarities end. Again, she's super colorful. Lucy is super colorful. She loves to sing and dance. She's a performer, and she loves performing. Whereas Katniss is, I mean, you know, Katniss. She's just very stoic, very serious, very much a huntress. But you know what? Oh, God, this is such a good book. Oh, I can't tell you how much I loved this novel. I just... read it. If you are fans of the Hunger Games series, you're going to have to just get over the fact that you don't like Snow. Just get over it. Because this is a really well-written, executed story. Collins is... and there's so many Easter eggs inside of it. You're just like, ah! I was just like, yeah, I was dorking out when I was reading this book. It's a thing that happens when I really like something. But, you know, I definitely do think it's worth a read. I definitely do think you need to read the Hunger Games series first to really appreciate this one. Don't start off with this one. You can, but I really do think it's going to make such a difference how you read it. You definitely recommend reading the Hunger Games series first. And you know what? The movie adaptations are pretty good adaptations. So watch the movies. I don't condone that. I always think the books are better. But if you're just like me, you know what? Just read the books. Read the books and then read this one. It's excellent. I have to give it 5 stars. Because it was just, so good. It was so good. So good. Alright, so once again, this was a Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I always want to get them flipped. by Suzanne Collins. 5 stars. It's amazing. Read it. Now, if money's tight for you, you can check out the book from your local library. But if it's not tight, please purchase the book off of bookshop.org, your local bookstore, Barnes & Noble, IndieBound, Books A Million. Please support bookstores and get this book off a bookstore if money's not too tight. Once again, if it is, please check it out from your local library. I'm sure they have it in stock. And I hope you all will continue to support me by liking this video, sharing it with all your book loving friends, and subscribing. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.